Hi, Govind, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm good, Gaurav. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I know it's a Friday evening on the last Friday of the year. But thank you so much for taking out the time and I appreciate that. And I've always found you very inspiring with the energy that you have. You bring about a great energy in whatever room you're in, and that also transpires in the great community that you have built. So, today we're going to talk about community building and more specifically in the HR space. So, before we do that, Govind, then I think it's a very interesting topic for a lot of listeners here. Maybe you want to take a couple of minutes for some quick introductions and then we can dive into the topic.
Yeah, sure. For the listener, I have recently left the corporate world after being 25 years in the journey. My last role was with the 3 Plus Global as the global head of talent management. In my new journey, I'm the CEO and founder for Incredible Workplaces. I'm also the founder and global CEO for HR Success Talk, and also runs an NGO called Amrita Devi Foundation. And other than that, I have been investor and business strategic partner in multiple HR startups at this point.
And what got you into these three aspects of the business, right? I mean, of course, your foundation is not a business. And I think the second one is also more of community for you to give to the society. And now, of course, third one is a business that you're doing. So what led you into these three institutions, if I may say so?
Yeah, I think all of them have a very different reason why I did what I did. And I think I'll start with the one that is the oldest one, is the community that I've started. Um, so basically, it's, the story behind building the community in a very short is that when I started my first job, from a background perspective, I'm a computer graduate of computer application and then master of computer application. But due to some reason, I started my career in HR, and I grew in HR from a trainee to a chief manager HR. But when my first job, I started having this feeling that I need to work under some HR leader to make sure that I also learn about HR in a better way. I thought that I should be, changing the job and going to another company. At that point in time, it was very hard for me to transition that job because I'm talking about like I have a 25 years or 25 years old story where HR used to be somebody who should know legal, labor laws, state compliances. And because I was not from the HR academician, so I didn't know anything about ESIP of gratuity, etc. And Gaurav, so I tried reaching out to multiple people, asking them, "Can you teach me this aspect?" Because now, whenever I go for an interview, or even the JD says that you need to have knowledge about labor laws. So there, I realized that people were very, very reserved in sharing their knowledge with others. And that was a time when you didn't have the YouTube or Google kind of stuff that you can do it yourself. You have to, depend upon your colleagues and well wishers to teach you. And it took me a very long time to actually find somebody who can teach me that labor laws. But within inside me, this feeling was very strong that people were not very upcoming to support others. And that's where the HR success talk started after a couple of years, when I thought that if I have to do something, I would like to share and learn with others. And that's how this community started. And in terms of ADF, I will shortly say that I had this feeling that I want to do something for my motherland. I'm from Uttarakhand, so I have lived here for long in Delhi NCR. And after long, when I went back to my village, that day I had this feeling that I have to do something for my motherland as well. And that's where Amrita Devi Foundation formed. It is in the name of my mother. And of course, the corporate world is corporate world. You need something for your bread and butter. So that's how I have been into the corporate world for long.
Got it. No, that's a great journey, and I must say very inspiring, right? Because a lot of people face different kind of challenges in their journey that they do, but not many really make something out of it and want to do it. Don't get me wrong, a lot of people want to do what you're doing, but it just takes a lot of courage. It takes that spirit of just diving in, not thinking too much. And yeah, so that's highly inspiring, I must say that. So so let's double click on the community side of it, right? So you've been running for how many years now?
It's 12 years. On February, we're going to be 30.
Congratulations, the lucky 13 is coming. So 13 years in the making, right? What are some of the learnings? I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of learnings, but top three learnings that have been for the last 13 years that you would like to share.
Yeah, one I would say, and many people ask me that, what is the secret sauce behind having this community this long? And Gaurav, I think the interesting thing is not that it is 13 years old. The interesting thing is that in 13 years, it has become a community that is right now in 11 countries with 1.5 lakh members and 150 volunteers. I think that's the crazy part of it. Um, yeah, and it's actually, I would, if you ask me, I will not say that. Of course, there's a hard work, everything is there, but I don't think I kind of faced a lot of challenge. Right? It was very smooth. One, because I think it was very consistent. So my learning was that, and I think you already said it when you started, asking about this question. You said many people wants to do it, but they are not able to do it. And I think I was able to provide them a platform that they kind of thought or believe that it is their own. So the one learning was, how do you create an ecosystem in a way that people believe that it's their own, and they also wanted to do it, so they can't do it by themselves. So maybe better that I should associate with a community that feels like my own community, and then you grow from there. And that's, I think, is the secret sauce. And second, many things with HR community, our community does, are non-commercial. Uh, we are not the community that is there to make profits. We are here to take it to the next level by gradually growing. But the challenge there was that when we used to go to multiple people and say that we are doing all that without any fees or commercial, one of the thing I always used to hear is then there is something behind it, right? There's something hidden. And I think what people were not able to understand is that there are a lot of people in the world who really wants to give back. There are a lot of people in the world that really want self-contentment. They have already got their financial satisfaction. They want something that they want to give it back to people. And I used to hear that a lot from colleges and universities, less from the corporates, but more from colleges and universities, because we used to we are running a college collaboration vertical, and people was like, why you help us with mentoring? Why you are doing so much of conferences here without any fees? Why you are helping our students in internship placement? And I say that it's not me, but there are so many people who wants to do that. So I think the second learning for me is that people do selflessly want to do something, and it's not always the money part of it. And I would say everybody's in a different phase. And the third learning for me was that if you want to build a community that is successful, you have to figure out what's in it for that person who is connecting with your community. And what's in it for you can be very different for person to person. Now we have people who are just freshers. Their expectation from the community is entirely different than somebody who's a CHR at this point in time. Great thing is that in our community, all the verticals that we have are in a way that they actually cater to everybody. We have so many success stories from there. So I think these are my key learning. One is that I was able to provide a platform that people felt that it is their own. There is some selfless thing, they couldn't do it by themselves, so why not tag along with that? Second, that I think I want to tell people that a lot of people wants to do a lot of things selflessly, right? It's not all the time that they have something back in their mind. And the third one was that there was something for everybody. So what's in it for you was for everybody, and that's why they're still with this community for this long period. And these are my some of the learning that I would say that I would like to share with the audience.
No, that's great. That's great. And I want to, go back to that second learning of yours, right? We always think that if he's doing something or if she's doing something, there is some motive behind there. And it's very refreshing to see that, people do things without any selfish reason. So I think that's the real community kind of generates from there. And it shows, and people attach to it because of that reason as well. So fantastic, kudos to you. So Govind, why do you think that this is going to test, or let me ask you another question. What do you think is going to be the future of HR success talk? Where do you want to take it? And why do you think it's going to go to that heights as well?
Yeah. So first of all, I think one thing I always said to everybody is that there's a future of HR success talk. But if you ask me what is the hurdle for me to take to that future is could be myself, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. I have seen a lot of communities dying because it is only a person dependent. Today, I'm the face of HRST. There are many other people who are definitely face in different countries, different states, but I sometimes feel that if I plug myself out from HRST as a community, will this community survive? The answer today might be no. That it because I'm the connector between everybody that works in this community. Not maybe at the ground level, but at the level at least those people who are working with me. So my vision is to first make sure this community sustains. It doesn't die the day when Govind decides not to do it anymore. There will be a day when I will say that I don't want to do this. I've done enough and I want to focus somewhere. So one, I have my challenge is to make sure this sustains, this goes for a long. So I'm looking for my successor to this community for sure. I've yet not found that person who share the same passion as I am, because it takes passion, it takes strategy, it takes your time. Not I think a lot of other volunteers spend more time than me, myself, but that's one. I think the way I see this, I don't want to see this community die. The second I think is that this community itself is doing a lot of stuff, and we work on the 80-20 rule, Gaurav. What we do, what we have started with might be what we not something we are doing today. We have stopped a lot of things. I remember forums, blogs, many things we have stopped because we realized that these things are not adding to the value, to not adding value to our vision. So we stop them. I don't know how that will look like in future, but I think what I can tell you is our vision is not going to change. Our vision is always going to make sure that we are bringing the HR and business leaders together. We are finding various ways. That ways might be different, and we are always very up to the time. Like, we are using technology. We are one of the community which use technology for multiple things that we do, starting from our website to our online courses to whatever we want to do. We always go and look at the technology as the first. So we keep changing the way we do, but I think the vision will not change. What will not also change is that we want to continue make sure that the volunteers, the members, the people who are associated with this community are getting benefited out of it. uh, at the last, I would say that maybe we will um, increase our space into the academia and industry, because that's one space we think that we are making a lot of value. um, and academicians, colleges and universities see that value because they have never got a community who is selflessly coming and supporting them in building their students, both from mentoring perspective or internship or placements or their branding. A lot of things we do with the college and university, so we wanted to continue in those bridges. So these are a couple of things that I would say that we'll continue working. I can't say that what we do today to achieve that will stay the same, because it never happened in the past. We changed a lot of things. We might change things in future as well.
No, that's great. And who knows? Maybe a listener of this podcast comes to you and say, "Hey, Govind, I want to be the successor." Like, I'm passionate about HR, and that's what I want to do. So who knows? Maybe this will be the channel for you to get one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Govind, so while you were creating that community, there would be moments where you would have thought that this is not worth it, or it's not going to go anywhere. I'm sure, we call it the value of death for everything. So what was in it you that kept you going at that time? And if there are any incidences, like real time experiences that you want to share about that.
Well, honestly speaking, I never had a time. It's about this community where I felt that I don't want to do it. Maybe I'm blessed with the people who are associated with me, and I keep saying this to many people that I don't know whether it is about me as my personality or it is about my stars, that I always get people who are really very well wisher of myself, who always thought that if this guy is doing something, we would like to. And there were many times, Gaurav, that I can tell that there were challenges, not the feeling that I want to close it. Because if you look at the story that I told you, I told you in a very simple way, but it was very engraved inside me that why people were not willing to come and support. What will happen if somebody will teach me labor laws? Right? I'm not going to take your job, right? I'm doing something else. But I think that point in time, it was so in the culture that you want to keep your own learning, you don't want to share. Today is the world different, right? There are a lot of blogs, YouTube, many things that you can uh, learn from there. But it was so deep inside me that I wanted to continue in this journey. And this journey was never stagnant. It actually took a lot of shape. And that's why maybe it was always challenging for me, because when we started, it was not started with the thought that what it is today. You are end up there, you know that when you start something and then when you start moving ahead, a lot of things keep changing your ideas or maybe what value you're going to add. It was very similar to this community was like that. We started with simple blogging and nothing else was in mind, and today it became what it is today. So I would say never a thought, but yeah, there were a lot of moments where I we thought that what we are doing might not be adding value to our vision, and it did things like, I'll tell you one example where we really stuck and we found a solution to that. And it's connected to what I think I was also mentioning before that since the beginning, I don't want it to be the only person running this community. I always believed in the power of team. So we wanted to create the team, but the problem that was coming is that when you are creating a team, or you are taking people, especially for the volunteering work, how do you make sure that they all work together, they all stays motivated?
Yeah, that's a big one, right? Because you're not paying them.
They're not.
This is not their livelihood.
This is,
And there can be so many times where they can see, why the hell am I doing this? So how do you keep them motivated? Absolutely. That's a great question.
yeah, and many times I feel that people do it more passionately than what they do for the job. It was another good observation that I made. Like people do it so passionately that sometimes I feel that maybe if they are doing the same in the job, they might be I'm sure, outstanding performers there. The solution we found, Gaurav, was that we actually come up with an organization structure. So we are a community, but we work pretty like a corporate. So we have all the hierarchies. Everybody's role is very, very well defined. HR Success Talk, even being a voluntary organization, has a HR department. There is a recruitment team. There is a voluntary engagement team there. There is a R&D team that makes sure R&R. Sorry, there is a R&R team that makes sure that recognizing our people. There is a L&D team that makes sure that we are educating or training our volunteers. So this is one example of it. But these 150 people are well structured. And even when we hire somebody, it's a hiring process, there's an onboarding process. The reason why it is all like that, because all people who are volunteers are basically professionals and they like professionals. So I always tell people that people like discipline. Nobody wants indisciplined environment. It sometimes it look like that this person doesn't want discipline, but they want discipline. They would appreciate there's a process to it. There is somebody following up stuff. So I think that was the challenge that we come up with, and we found that solution. And honestly, there are hell number of challenges that came.
I think that's a great one. Hey, Govind, thank you so much for your time today. We're coming at the fag end of this podcast. But before we do that, we like to do some like fire, rapid fire round, as we call it.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to read a few questions. Yeah. So what's one thing every community should have in common?
I think the consistency is what they should have in common. Sorry, sir, if I don't want to give an explanation to that, but I would say that many community dies because the founders lose interest in it after some time. So I think the consistency.
So, what is the biggest misconception people have about building a great community?
I think they feel that it is very hard to build. In my personal experience, it was so easy for me to build it, and think it was again that you have all the right pieces in place, and by time it continues happening, and today it becomes so big. So I think it's a misconception that you can't create a community like that, and you have to do a lot of hard work. I did it all, finding some time from my routine official work. I still did it. So I'm sure this, in my view, it is a misconception.
One thing that you love about building a community, and one thing that you don't love so much about building a community.
Well, I think that one I love about building community is working with the high performance team. I learned a lot during this process myself. What I don't love about it, maybe today we are doing it voluntary. If there would have been some money associated with it, I think we could have built it much faster. We did not have to wait for 13 years to reach there. But again, we are enjoying what we are.
Right. So, last one. If a HR Success Talk becomes a movie, what do you think is going to be a title for it? And would you act as a hero in that movie?
I'll answer the last part. I won't act as a hero for the movie. I never want the hero tag at all. I would love to be a facilitator for sure, or a director, but not a. But I think that if I have to resonate this movie with something, I would say the Chak De India, because again it connects with the leadership, with the passion, with the teamwork. Every team member is important. So that would I would resonate more.
Yeah, very well answered. Very well answered. So, so any last thoughts, Govind, before we let you go?
Yeah, if I talk about building the community perspective, what I will tell to people is that communities are the great way to leverage the way you want it, right? I think people hesitate, and I'm not talking about volunteering. Volunteering is absolutely the awesome way, but even being a member, I have heard so many stories, Gaurav, in the community, and that's why I know why people are like. I used to think myself, why people are connected with this, but when you go deep into it, then you realize that even the small things that people get out of it, like example, people get jobs, people get business opportunity, people get coaches, right? Get the learning that they never would have got in other way, right? Even simplest way that people said, I know how to create a poster now. I have now started seeing other people how they start a meeting and how they close a meeting. I learned that I have to dress up this and my videos should be this, and even those small things, when people get out of it, they stay with you for a longer period of time. So I think if somebody has to learn, join the. I'm not saying join HR Success Talk as a community, but join any community. If you're a lawyer, join a lawyer community. If you're a financier, join a financial community, because you get a different perspective from people, and that's the way I think you grow up. So this will be my message, that not only building community but being part of the community is an awesome.
I'll tell you from my own experience, Govind, I haven't known you for long, right? I mean, we've maybe known each other for about 6 months or so. And I can tell the audience, I have done a couple of events with HR Success Talk, and I've enjoyed them completely. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Joy of Performing, and we're in the business and people performance enablement space, right? And when we did those events, Govind, and we got some great HR leaders there, just the sheer joy that I could see, on their faces when we were talking about new age technology, new age frameworks. How can you do better in terms of both business and people performance? It was just sheer of real joy that I could see in them. So I think, like us, you are giving you've created a platform that a lot of people can get to know a lot of things which otherwise they wouldn't know about, or it would be hard. So I think that's sheer joy in my view. Thank you, Govind. So how can our users get in touch with you if they wish to?
Yeah, they can reach out to me personally if they want to on my LinkedIn as Govind Negi. If they want to reach out to our community and just be part of it, be a volunteer, we are present in all the prominent social media, including WhatsApp and You can find us. We are everywhere in the social media, and just send us a message, and our team will be in touch with
Okay. All right. Thank you, Govind. You have a great evening and wishing you the best in 2025.
you. Thank you very much, and all the best to you and your dear